Hi everyone, it's Lindsay and I'm back today with the Let's Make a Card video. So this card was very simple to make. It's really just a whole lot of coloring. I have slowed the coloring down though. If you want a faster version, I did throw that up over on my Instagram and Facebook, so you can check that out. But the first thing I did was I started off with the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so an A2 sized white cardstock panel. I went ahead and stamped this little scarecrow. Now this scarecrow is from the Harvest Happiness stamp set from Craft and Desert Divas, and it comes like this. There's no masking involved. It comes with this little scene created around it. So all you need to do is stamp this out and you've got a card ready to go. Now once that was ready, I just used my Prismacolor colored pencils. I already had a few colors picked out and I just started coloring them in. So for his hair and the little straw hands and the straw coming out from his legs, I used some yellows, 2 different colors, and now I'm going to use some blacks and grays for the little crows. Now there is also a sentiment in this set that says from one old crow to another, so that would be perfect for this particular image. I didn't use that on this card. I actually needed a thank you card, so this card's already out of my stash. But I just wanted to tell you that that sentiment was in there because I thought it was so cute and funny. Now for the jeans, I went ahead and used 2 different colors of blues, and for his little scarf, I used some burnt reds. Now this is more of a fall set and a fall image, so I really tried to stick with some warm colors, some browns, some oranges and reds and yellows. I did throw in the blue for his little jeans, but that's just because when I look at pants, I see jeans. Now during this month, it is, of course, the 30-day coloring challenge that we all play along with. And one of my goals this coloring challenge is to get better at coloring in smaller images. I don't just mean with one shade, I mean shading them out and using a few different colors just to get better at coloring in those teensy-tiny images. So I love that this set has, not this set, but this stamp has those little crows that I got to use a few different colors on. The sunflowers I tried to use a few different colors on. Those tiny images that are included in the sets, I really want to get better at coloring in those. So that is my goal for this month. Now for the sunflowers, of course, I used some browns and yellows. I used green for the little stem. I'm using some browns for the little stake. I also used some green for his 2 little shirt sleeves that look like they're poking out of his jacket, and some browns. While I had them in my hand, I went ahead and colored in the stems of the pumpkins. Now for the jacket, I went with more of a burnt orange, and then I thought that I would go ahead and carry that right on down to the pumpkins to kind of pull the entire image together. That's something that I like to do. I like to use my colors over and over when I'm coloring in scenes like this, just because it helps it look more like a cohesive scene when you've got some of those same colors carried across the entire card. So I used those same colors for the jacket and the pumpkins, and then I brought in some green for right underneath those pumpkins and also around the flowers, and I used 2 different colors for that. I started off with a darker one, and then I just shaded it out with a lighter one and brought it out a little bit past what the actual stamp was for a more grounding effect. Then around the entire little scene, I used a very light blue marker, and I just use little circular motions and just go around all of the images that are connected to the sky. So I just go in little bitty circles all around the images. Now you can go as wide as you want to with this. I just went about 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to come in some of the darker spaces, mostly on the right hand side, a little on the left hand, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of gray, and then I'll come in with a darker blue, and I'll just put that in some of the darkest most where there will be the most shading. So those corners, things like that, I just added in that little bit of blue for a little bit more depth. Now to put this card together was very simple. I went ahead and used the largest inside scalloped circles, or scalloped rectangle dies, excuse me. I cut that from some craft cardstock, and that's going to be my frame to frame out this card. Now whenever I cut down my panel, I did it a little bit short, so I'm actually going to just put that right in my paper trimmer and slice off my card base so it matches my card panel. I want this to look like a 1-layer card. Now I've got that inside scalloped rectangle die. I'm going to put some fun foam on the back of it with some double-sided adhesive just to pop that up. And whenever I do frames like this, I go along all 4 edges. That way, whenever I put this through the mail, this card actually didn't go through the mail, but even so, it's got to go into an envelope, and most of the time I throw it in my bag and take it with me to give to the person. So I've got to have that little bit of extra dimension so it doesn't flatten out as I'm carrying it along. Now I also put a note of thanks right on a banner die from the flag banner stamp set. I put that along the bottom of the card base, and then I also cut some clouds from the Scene Builders die set. That's one of my all-time favorite die sets. I cut those from some white cardstock. I'm going to pop those up with some fun foam and just place 3 of them around the top of the card, and that completely finishes it off. It was that simple. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave you with a few pictures of the finished card. So on the left side of your screen, you'll see a few different links you can click on. The top will take you to a video of mine you might enjoy watching next. The bottom left will take you to my blog where you'll find the supply list for this card. And the bottom right will subscribe you to my channel if you aren't already. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and happy crafting!